Over the last several months, we have all witnessed the inhumane and heartbreaking separation of immigrant children from their families by this administration. Despite a court order requiring the administration to reunite them over a month ago, nearly 500 immigrant children are still separated from their parents. Do you believe that constitutional rights of parents, specifically fundamental due process rights, are implicated in such family separations?
Senator, that is a matter of pending litigation, I believe, and as a sitting judge on the D.C. Circuit or as a nominee, I, of course, can't comment.
Have you watched the coverage of any of these cases on television, or have you read about the experiences those parents and those children have had?
I have seen some television.
In the 1889 Chinese exclusion case, the Supreme Court permitted a ban on Chinese people entering the United States. The court said Chinese people are, quote, impossible to assimilate with our people, end quote, and said they were immigrating in numbers, quote, approaching an invasion. This case has never been explicitly overruled. You've said you'd be willing to talk about older cases. So can you tell me, was the United States Supreme Court correct in holding that Chinese people could be banned from entering our country?
Senator, the cases in the 1890s, as you know,
1889 to be specific.
okay, in that era, reflect discriminatory attitudes by the Supreme Court. Of course, that's the era also of Plessy versus Ferguson.
So would you be willing to say that that was incorrectly decided?
Senator, I don't want to opine on a case, a particular case, without looking at it and studying it. The discrimination.
Are you aware that that case has not been overturned?
Senator, I know that with a number of the cases, like Korematsu, let me use that as an example.
Which we've discussed earlier. But on this case in particular, were you aware that it had not been overturned?
So, Senator, I realize that there's still cases in the immigration context.
Have you ever written about any of those cases and your thoughts about whether they should be re-examined or potentially overturned? And sometimes, obviously, they should be overturned?
Well, there is a swath of cases.
Have you talked about this case ever?
I do not believe. I'm happy to be refreshed if you have something that suggests I have.
No, it's actually a question.
Okay.
Under the Constitution, Judge, do you believe that Congress or the President can ban entry into the United States on the basis of race?
Senator, that was, of course, one of the issues that was just in litigation, and there's still litigation about the immigration laws and how
you're not going to
exclusions.
answer that.
That's pending litigation, so I think it's a matter of independence and precedent.
Will not answer that. That's fine. Let's move on. In 2013,